name is Davitt Lamon. I'm an associate director here at C+W O'Brien Architects, and I also look after digital delivery for the practice. In addition to this, I do a lot of work with TU Dublin as an assistant lecturer, where I kind of deliver a lot of modules in the area of digital construction, information management. So it's something I'm quite passionate about and quite interested in as well. But the subject for the presentation today is around the area of knowledge management and our implementation of Flo10. How we're using it to both capture knowledge and standardize our processes. I will mention quite a bit about data. We use it synonymously with information. So quite often you hear the terms BIM or information management. For us, information is basically data that you know what to do with. So we try not to make the assumption that people always know what to do with what we're producing. But so for us, we kind of tend to focus a bit on data. So an agenda for the presentation, a quick introduction on our journey, and introducing a bit of context around construction data. And moving on from there, I suppose the obvious statement, but quantity does not always equal quality. So how do we produce quality data and quality knowledge and help that influence our decision making? I'll touch on making field decisions using the data that we have in Flo10 and implementing formal data strategies. A key tip is buy-in from the entire organization. Not always as easy as you want it to be, but it's always important to discuss as well. I'll kind of wrap up then towards the end of the presentation with lessons learned from ourselves. So 4 steps to a successful data strategy before highlighting some references and kind of closing out the slides today. So C+W O'Brien Architects, we're an architectural practice here based in Dublin. We do have ties to the Corsi and Wright Architects group in the UK, so a couple of locations there as well. But we consider ourselves here in Dublin anyway quite leading edge or cutting edge when it comes to innovation and digital construction. And that was an area we wanted to focus on when we first started training just over 6 years ago. So it was always been a key area for us. Quite naively at the start, we wanted to introduce BIM, not knowing fully what it was. So like a lot of people, we assumed information modeling or BIM was just Revit, and we couldn't focus on that for a couple of years, which is our data production side of things. We got quite good at it before we kind of were introduced to the wider world of information management and standardizing our processes. So that was the second part of our kind of a digital journey, data production and then data management within the area of digital construction. Towards that point, about 4 years into our journey, we had scaled from 4 staff members to 40. So we were growing quite quickly and we needed to kind of capture knowledge and standardize our processes. So we deployed a Deltek PIM server to kind of capture a lot of the information we were producing. And after 2 to 3 years, we had a lot of data, a lot of information, but we weren't quite sure how to manage it, but more importantly, leverage it to create value for ourselves and our clients. So that's when we turned our sights on data science and analytics, and trying to make the most of the information we had and capture knowledge. And that's when we started engaging with Flo10, which has been a good journey the past couple of months. So we decided to invest in knowledge. I mentioned we scaled quite quickly. We're about a little over 50 staff members now. And one of the biggest issues for us is it's getting new staff with the skill sets that are needed, but also getting them up to speed with our processes and our ways of working. So we had some great, amazing people working with us in the office, and we decided we needed to capture the knowledge that they had and make it more accessible to the wider office, but also for somebody who's the first day in the company working with us, that they knew exactly kind of what was expected, but the step-by-step on how to deliver our process for delivering projects. And thankfully, Flo10 was able to help us with all that. And I'll go through some of those processes today as well. But basically, we decided to invest in knowledge. So to add a bit of context to data within construction, Today's construction industry is under more pressure than ever to deliver projects that are on time and on budget, all while dealing with record global labour shortages, supply chain issues, and other challenging external constraints. Factors like accelerated construction schedules mean critical decisions must be made quickly by project leaders working in the field and also in our offices. The quality of these decisions often determines a project's success or failure. Technology adoption in our industry has rapidly accelerated in recent years, and we're on a journey to full-scale digital transformation. As a result, the volume of project data has grown exponentially, with construction leaders identifying that their own data has doubled in just the last 3 years. A key factor for us and others that empowers leaders to quickly make critical decisions in the field is access to accurate project data. And to better understand how our industry is managing these challenges, the presentation and slides today will explore our own company's lessons learned, but also research and survey data from over 3,900 industry leaders worldwide to understand their current data strategies. So what I found and what these findings have found show that many in the industry agree that operating without a formal strategy for collecting, managing, and using data possesses a significant risk for many organizations. These are themes I've heard myself during conversations with colleagues and leaders in both Irish and UK construction industries. So taking a look at some of the stats on screen, and I love stats. I suppose some of my postgrad work is in digital construction analytics, so you'll come across a lot of stats. Hopefully you enjoy them as much as I do. But taking a look at a couple on screen, the volume of available project data has doubled in the last 3 years. 75% stated an increasing need for rapid decision making in the field, which includes in the office as well. An alarming 30% shared that over half of their data is bad. 55% of organizations have implemented a formal data strategy for project data. And 1/3 of all poor decisions were made as a result of bad data. And lastly, bad data may have caused 14% of all construction rework. I mentioned bad data a couple of times, and I will define my understanding or the context here of what bad data means as well. So construction data. So again, quantity does not always equal quality. The volume of data collected in the construction industry is rapidly rising due to the increased adoption of technology. This should prompt industry leaders to step back and ask themselves the important question: how much of our data can be used to make informed and actionable decisions? Unfortunately, more than 80% of respondents to one survey described at least 25% of their project data as unusable. Respondents to the same survey didn't indicate any single reason that explains what makes their project data unusable. Of the 5 potential data challenges presented, each option averaged a ranking of about 3 out of 5, meaning challenges are unique to each organization. And that's one of the things I really like about Flo10 actually. Obviously, Flo10 user groups, I'll be tying everything back to Flo10 quite a bit, but it's the customization and being able to deploy it or implement it in a way that suits your organization's needs. But also, however, the inability to easily combine data from different sources was ranked either first or second by nearly half of all respondents. And that's something we're using project pages for, which I'll demonstrate shortly, is through integrations, how to link information from different sources. In this context, bad data can be defined as inaccurate, incomplete, inconsistent, or untimely. Most characterize between 20% and 50% of their organization's project data as bad. Half of all respondents to the same survey reported that bad project data resulted in a poor outcome in 1/3 of their decision making. Since no single reason was selected as the main culprit for bad project data, it's clear that data management solutions and the challenges the industry faces are unique to each organization's way of working. And again, I mentioned the ability for Flo10 to kind of customize or deploy in a way that suits your organization's needs has been hugely beneficial to us. I also mentioned one of our challenges while scaling was capturing the knowledge of existing staff members in specialist areas particularly. And one way we've done this is through knowledge pages. So whether it's digital construction, sustainability, or more modern methods of construction, we do have specialists in the office who deal in these areas. So as opposed to all staff members trying to gather what information they can when questions arise in certain projects, being able to curate that information into what's important but what's factually correct, we've seen great success with this, and it's been hugely beneficial as well. Making decisions using data is critical for us. Although most agree that data-driven decisions are required for better outcomes, getting the data into a usable state is another common challenge. Hiring a data scientist may not be practical or economical for all companies. So managing the data has fallen largely on the shoulders of existing staff or information managers, are probably the people in this user group call as well. In addition to keeping projects and personnel on track, project management and field supervision staff are the ones collecting, managing, and analyzing the data each week. 2/3 of respondents to one piece of research either agreed or strongly agreed that the need for quick, real-time decision-making is increasing at the project level. With many construction projects, decisions often need to be made faster because of schedule acceleration or compression, emergency response, or stakeholder requests. So having information in a central location just aids that decision-making so much. Having readily available data is essential to accurate project decision-making. As the diagram illustrates, time constraint and urgency of decision was most selected as the greatest risk to project decision-making. This indicates that the quality of project data needs to improve if project leaders are to make critical decisions in the field quickly and autonomously. Respondents also indicated that an absence of reliable data and not having experience with similar projects brought considerable risk to their projects. And that's kind of a good statement there. Having a central location for knowledge or information within the company allows that information to be shared across projects. You can quickly see what other projects the company has completed within the sector or for the same client. So again, that knowledge sharing or the management of knowledge within companies. As organizations look for ways to improve how they analyze their data, they must also evaluate their existing processes and standards for data capture. It's important to understand where your organization's existing data is bad or incomplete. That insight will help you further to define how new data is captured and improve the quality of information available to your project leaders when they're making quick decisions, either in the field or in the office. Most respondents thought workflow optimization will be the most important project management or analytical skill in the future of the construction industry. Tracker is a great one for that. I love Tracker when it comes to Flo10's tools. But also data management strategy and data analytics were also considered important to 51% and 47% respondents, respectively. Just to kind of demo a little bit or talk a bit about project pages. One thing it's hugely great for us, and I kind of gave a bit of an example of having the project pages. Can you quickly see what other projects or practices done in similar sectors, similar locations with maps, or for similar clients. But we've got a deployment of Deltek PIM in the office or server. So from this, we're able to pull information from our project entities, report from project accounting. But Flo10's integration with Microsoft Power BI, it's really exciting for us. It's something we'd been using previously as a way of collecting data from multiple sources. You might be familiar with the concept of a common data environment, or CDE. On a construction project, it's very rarely one solution. More so, it's complementary solutions that talk to each other. So what we tend to do is try to link all those sources of data as much as possible into one location. We do that through Microsoft Power BI, which we can then embed in our project pages through an iframe. So we're taking information from Deltek, pushing out information from our Revit models or our building information models We're using an application called Tracer, which pushes them out to an ODBC file, which we use as a data source in Microsoft Power BI. We also take information from BIMtrack for construction issues, and we link our CDE, which is Autodesk Construction Cloud, through the API with Microsoft Power BI, and we can embed all this information into a Flo10 project page, which is handy. Again, a lot of data sources, but one central location to help inform decision making for people both in the field and in the office. Implementing formal data strategies. So the first step in supporting project staff who are tasked with information management or data analysis is implementing a formal data strategy. Having a framework in place will lift the burden from busy supervisory staff, and it will improve data consistency and insights moving forward. Despite the increased reliance on project management and field supervision staff to make good project decisions quickly, only 12% of organizations always incorporate project data into their decision making. For the organizations committed to quality data, the three most common efforts or investments made to ensure decision makers have access to actionable, high quality data are regularly reviewing data at set intervals for quality purposes, having established data reporting and monitoring practices, both at the time of collection and use, and thirdly, structuring data in a common data environment. And now I'm just kind of coming over the 10:30 mark, so Roger is probably looking at me or telling me to kind of hurry up a little bit, but we're getting there. I should only take just a couple of more minutes to kind of wrap up. With the technology and tools leveraged throughout all stages of construction projects, most organizations can capture more project data than ever before. However, when discussing this with leaders, I've learned that the sheer volume of project data available is overwhelming and can cause a state of decision paralysis. The absence of a formal data strategy or platform for managing data may be a contributor to this. The large percentage of unusable or bad project data may be why so few respondents always incorporate project data into their decision making. Another common action many take to reduce the volume of bad project data is adopting a CDE. Industry leaders indicated that access to project data was centrally located, it improved their ability to accurately capture data and in turn analyze it. And as demonstrated, something we use Flo10 for is locating that information data in a single location. When asked if they had a formal data or information management strategy, only 55% of participants of one survey selected yes. Respondents that always or often incorporate project data into their decision making were more likely to have a formal information management plan. When asked about project information management challenges, respondents selected how to manage and how to collect project data. A data strategy needs to clearly address both of these common challenges, ensuring that collection is efficient and management is effective. And just on that last point again, collection is efficient and management is effective. So this is one of my favorite features of Flo10, which is Tracker. So the collection of data with Tracker is very efficient. It's easy for us to do, and management is effective. We're currently using it with our quality management system. So here in Ireland, we've got the Royal Institute of Architects of Ireland, or IAI, who have a good practice guidelines, which aligns with ISO 9001. So it'd be our quality management system. So we've built Tracker to align with the REI good practice guidelines, which allows us to capture data, but also monitor it. We've got a gap analysis with one of our consultants next week for 9001 certification. So it'll be really interesting to get feedback on this and see how well it's performing. Buy-in, very important. If organizations understand the benefits of having a data management strategy, the path to implementation may be littered with roadblocks. Clearly, project management and field supervisors should require a plan to collect, manage, and analyze data. However, without knowing what investment is required or where to begin, leadership may not back the project. Obtaining buy-in from all key stakeholders is necessary for the successful rollout of an information management strategy. Given the importance of a robust project data strategy or information management plan. Everyone should aspire to improve, even those teams uncertain of where to start. I don't want to extend too much a little bit further, so I'll just skip this one and get to, I suppose, the good bits, which is the 4 steps of a successful data strategy, and kind of leave everybody with some lessons learned on our end. People I've spoken with often shared a feeling of being overwhelmed by the volume of project data the organizations collect. Not surprisingly, many are also uncertain on how they would begin an initiative to leverage their data more effectively. To make implementing a data strategy easier, I'd suggest a 4-step process on how to get started. Step 1 is select a single point of focus. So decide where the organization could benefit most from data-driven insights. To maximize return on investment and to encourage organizational buy-in, first attempt at data process improvement must have clear value. For example, we decided to begin with quality assurance and BIM, 2 areas where data was readily available. Excuse me. And having a single point of focus directs the efforts of individuals and can accelerate the impact of improvements. Step 2, get buy-in to reduce hesitancy. So implementing data-driven insights into project decision-making was described by many as a cultural shift within our practice. Achieving buy-in and including your project team in the decision-making ensures they will not be biased against the proposed changes. Buy-in requires continual reinforcement and open discussion. Formal training can help and is a common part of a successful data strategy implementation. Something Roger's been great with is the training side of things for us and helping us get started. Learnings are then reinforced through additional on-the-job training. Organizations need to share how data-driven insights have improved project decision-making and project outcomes to continually ensure buy-in. Step 3, standardize your data capture across all projects. So survey respondents to one study stated that more than 1/3 of the organization's data is bad, meaning inaccurate, incomplete, or inconsistent. They also reported feeling overwhelmed with the volume of data being collected and at a loss of where to start. Only 36% of all respondents have implemented a process for identifying bad data and repairing it. And several industry leaders I've spoken with stated that it took up to 2 years to completely clean their own data. So to prevent this time-consuming undertaking of cleaning data, organizations need to be standardizing how data is captured now. And the last recommendation, or step 4, is keep project data in a common data environment, or keep knowledge or practice knowledge in a common location. I can't stress enough the importance of a CDE and preference for a single solution or complementary technology solutions with robust integration capabilities to facilitate the flow of project data. Adopting a CDE or knowledge management hub facilitates collaboration between project team members and helps avoid creating more bad data. I referenced a couple of studies and surveys, so I just wanted to bring those references up on screen and include them. But that's my presentation, and thanks for having me today.